I'm Christy.
And I'm Kathy.
And this is The Psychic
And the Skeptic. Welcome to our 13th lucky episode of The Psychic and the Skeptic. This episode, we're going to talk about shadow figures. So this ends up being the third in the series on the paranormal. So this is a different type of paranormal activity that we see and we have lots of opinions and comments on. And
we've captured evidence.
And we have photos and things that we're going to share with you on Instagram and Facebook. But before we get into all of the fun, we wanted to say that we've noticed that it's our 13th episode and we're looking at our statistics and we're pretty much international now. Christy, did you realize that?
Yeah, I was looking at it with you. I was like, wow.
So, of course, we are recording out of Oklahoma, so in the Oklahoma City metro area. That's more like Texas, girlie. But no. Oklahoma City, of course, is going to be our largest because, word of mouth, and we've got friends in the area. So Oklahoma City has our most viewers. So shout out to all those in Oklahoma City that are supporting us and listening to our podcast and care what we have to say. So we really appreciate you. But we've got folks from Greenwood's our next city, Newcastle, Oklahoma, Stillwater, Broken Arrow, Ashburn, Carlsbad, which sounds like, was that Arizona?
Yeah.
And
I think so.
Don't come at me. Fort Worth, we've got quite a few in there. Houston, Phoenix, our next most popular area. Who would have thought? But Mexico, we've got listeners in Mexico.
I know. Isn't that great?
Hola. How about that, huh?
¿Cómo está?
We've got Owasso, Tucson again, which could be another state.
And look, we got the UK.
Yes. We've got all kinds.
Across
we got Sapulpa near the Tulsa area. Sapulpa. What did I say?
Sapupa.
I did not. I know what Sapulpa.
You were showing. I swear to you,
that
you
must have been
Sapulpa.
A spirit took over my soul for a moment there.
That's your Yankee showing.
Maybe I didn't even realize it. Pulpa.
We do in
from
Oklahoma.
Boston, San Antonio, and then Romania, Bucharest, yay, Amsterdam. We've got several from the UK, Southwark, Ardmore. We're back in
United States.
We're back in Oklahoma with Ardmore here. Various.
Lone Grove,
this is
Norman, Spencer, Tulsa. There's another one from
Spalding.
UK.
Yes, we've got
Netherlands,
Harlesden, Rotterdam in Netherlands, Essen, Germany.
And then another Mexico. Yeah.
Yes, Bartlesville, Lexington, McAllister, Dallas. So those of you who are local. And then we had a listener from Toronto in Canada.
Ooh.
Bonjour. Salut. Just a little French.
There you go.
So thank you all for listening. We're really... That's your Okie showing out on that one. I'm going to have to say that.
I only speak psychic and English. That's it.
Yes. So we're happy that we have a good group of listeners here. Hopefully we're giving you the content you're looking for in a podcast, something different. There's lots of paranormal podcasts out there, but we feel not many that are like what we do, where we have two different points of view. I take the point of view of the skeptic, and Christy.
I am the psychic.
Exactly. And so although I am mostly skeptical, I am an open skeptic. So I tend to speak from that point of view.
I'm going to convince her before this podcast is all said and done.
And if this is the first episode that you're listening to, go back and listen to our beginning episode. We give a little bit of background on it, but we've been investigating together for, what was it? What are we up to now?
Is it 40?
Since 2011 when I joined your team, but combined we have over 40 years of paranormal investigation to
Mine was like 1999. I started the group in 2000.
Right. And I started in 2009 in a team in Florida. So when we moved to Oklahoma, that's how Christy and I got together, and we've been friends and besties ever since.
That's right. Woohoo.
So,
love it. But hey, no, seriously, thank you guys to everybody who is listening to us and supporting us. We greatly appreciate you, and we really hope that you enjoy the content of our podcast.
We have ways for you to get a hold of us, and we'll talk about that at the end of the episode. We'll give you our Instagram and all those things. But if you have a topic that you'd like us to cover and talk about, you want to hear both perspectives, something that maybe you've experienced, we do have an email, and we'll give that to you at the end of the episode. And you can write in, and we will read your story on our podcast episodes,
Yeah.
and you can hear
Discuss.
and share with all those out there that are listening.
You know what I was thinking too?
What's
Something
that?
cool for me to do. What if I have someone that actually, if they go ahead and email in.
Right.
And
Ooh,
they
like a
had
remote
question.
reading?
Yes, that's what I was thinking. If
yeah.
they have a question, just send me a picture of them with your question, and I will give you your answer on the podcast. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, I remote
Jinx.
into pictures. Pinch both, yell me a Coke. Anyway. But yeah, there's so many different types of phenomenon out there, and I wanted to talk about the shadow figures because not only have we encountered them on investigations, but as a kid, I had my
This is what started your experiences.
This is what got me started. So
Right. Yeah, you had your own shadow experience.
several actually, and I think I mentioned them. I think in the earlier episodes, but yeah.
Yeah, and this type of phenomenon fits into our paranormal series. So we're not going in week by week with this series, but we had our first the paranormal part 1 was on
Intelligent
versus residual. And then our part 2 was on the poltergeist, which is not really
And
paranormal,
telepathy.
but yeah, telepathy. And so now we're going to talk about shadow people. And there's other types of paranormal phenomenon we'll get to over the weeks, but we'll give you some other topics in between time as we go along in the series.
Right.
So, shadow people. So, Christy, what do we mean by shadow people or shadow figures?
Scary people.
Dark. Exactly what it says.
Well, I mean, if you want to be
From a paranormal sense.
right, it's considered shadowy human-shaped figures, but they're not all human-shaped, by the way. They're usually seen in one's peripheral vision, and often when they are seen, they disappear quickly.
Yes, and I can explain that from
Of
that
course you
skeptic
can.
point of view.
Of course you can.
So I am just chomping at the bit to share what I know, but we'll keep going.
Okay, so this type of phenomenon, it's the name shadow people or shadow figures, it's relatively modern. It wasn't always coined that. And when I did some research to figure out when
History.
the first, that parahistory.
Yay!
When the earliest known shadow figure stories that were actually documented, it was from the 1st century AD. And it does talk about a Roman author who described a spectral figure that was rattling chains.
Yeah.
Yes, that's an old story.
Yes.
But I don't really know.
That bled into modern day. I'm picturing the old black and white horror films, and you hear the chains in the background.
Oh, I'm thinking about Scrooge,
That too. Right?
The one ghost that, was it his coworker or whatever that worked with him?
Yeah, yeah.
Was wrapped up in the chains?
Yep, that died. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that's what I think of. But
Yeah, so anyway, that's interesting to kind of think how pop culture evolves from the origination of where these fears come from. What was the original experience that led to, how did that become part of movies and pop culture?
Well, and it's even mentioned, shadow people are mentioned in ancient folklore as well. But they're often and I know I've heard this, people think that whenever they see a shadow, oh, it's all bad, it's a demon,
Right, it's dark and scary.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, they have been associated with things like death or misfortune or other type of bad stuff that happens. I mean, there's, like I said, in the background as far as history goes, ancient folklore, and there's also some examples that's been found in literary examples of shadow people. So obviously this phenomenon has been around for a long time.
Right. So as the normal functioning of our peripheral vision.
Right?
Right.
But I swear to you, the
Yes.
experiences that I had as a kid, it was not my peripheral vision.
Right. And we'll definitely get into that.
Yes. Well, there are 8 different types of shadow people.
Okay.
And I mean, there might be a couple more besides these, but these are the main types. So I kind of wanted to discuss them. And then,
yeah, because not all shadow figures are the same.
no, they're not. They actually have different types of shapes. So I don't know if you remember, but in an earlier episode, I had talked about my sister and I being in the living room. We were sleeping one night, by the fireplace when we had like that 7-foot shadow man.
Right.
That
This might have been from our first episode on the beginning, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Like
you're
what
right.
got us started. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So our house had the cathedral ceilings, and we've got, I got up to go to the bathroom, and then my sister, I hear her screaming bloody freaking murder, right? And I see what's going on, and she tells me there's a man in the living room. So we walk to like the entrance of the doors, and that man is just floating down, coming at us.
Oof. And you're looking at that straight on.
Yeah. So
and your sister sees this too,
yes,
right? So this is
she
not
sees
your...
it. Nope, this is not my
your
psychic
gift.
crazy eye. That's right.
Crazy eye.
Well, the eye. Up near
the third eye.
Right. But I kind of describe it as like the Hat Man. So if we look at him, it's commonly described as tall and thin, wearing a fedora and a wide-brimmed hat, and sometimes he'll be seen in like a duster.
Yeah, what is it with the hat? Everybody or the people have described a top hat. So
Yeah.
I wonder if it's just where that spirit comes from, like in time, and what the fashion was then.
Well, and maybe they just are afraid of their bald head and they need some Rogaine. I don't know.
We can't see the hair on them. Well, the other thing on the hat, though, again, it was a fashion sense, but it also might show a little bit of authority, too. So, like, I have a military background, and so your drill sergeant has the hat, and they're always looking at you through the brim of it. So I wonder if it's spirit trying to show itself to you and communicate something to you. It shows a little bit of an authority with that hat on.
Never thought
That's
of
one
it
way
that
to
way.
look at it.
Yeah. Well, this Hat Man, he isn't known for like attacking people or anything, but he does cause a lot of anxiety feelings, apprehension.
Right.
And
yeah.
that's exactly what me and my sister felt that night.
Right.
When
They
we
look
saw
intimidating. They've got this hat on and this feeling of authority. They're usually up above looking down at you.
Yeah. And the guy that we saw, they're kind of like faceless. Have you ever seen it when someone, and I know I described this the same in the beginning episode, but someone puts a pair of like nylons on their face, so it kind of like distorts.
Well, yeah, it's a
features.
shadow. So, if you
Right.
could see facial features, then it would be an apparition.
Well, that's a true point.
Yeah.
But I could see the indentions of where the eyes and the nose and the mouth were on this guy.
Wow.
So, but I know.
So he wasn't completely solid black then?
No,
was he a little bit
I could see through him.
I wonder if that darkness was like the deeper, kind of like an X-ray. It'll show you where it's more dense, the density of this shadow, in a sense.
Could be. Well, I will tell you what this looked like is the fireplace was going. Okay. So you had the dancing flames that,
Right.
that come off the fireplace. And then on the outside, just off our back porch at the time, we had a light pole, where the light would shine in. But I know the light and the fireplace did not cause this shadow person.
Right.
This Hat Man, whatever you want to call him. By no means. This was a real thing.
So
and fact he
the
was coming
direction
at
the
us.
light that was reflecting from the light sources was pointed in a different direction then?
Well, the light pole outside would have been shining on his back.
Oh, okay. Ooh.
But really it was kind of, I guess it would kind of be blocked though, because we had curtains up.
Right.
So,
But there's still light coming through.
Yeah, a little, but not a whole lot.
The curtains were closed.
Yes, the curtains were closed. So that would have been his backside. And then the fireplace would have been kind of like lower by the feet.
Right.
Kind of facing toward the front side.
Right.
So, but no way to, could any of that light source.
So the Hat Man is a common
phenomenon.
claim from people who have experienced this type of phenomenon.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
What other shadow figures do we have?
So our next one is just basically a shadow figure that has glowing eyes.
Yeah, that's fun.
So with this one, I know, yeah, especially when you see one beside your bed. And I talked about that in the first episode too.
Yeah,
remember?
this is one from our clients with our paranormal team that sometimes we hear, but very rarely, but they immediately go right to demon. So we're separating that. This is not necessarily a demonic type.
Correct. And let me say too,
Entity.
sometimes it's always been my belief that sometimes spirits show up as shadows just because of like their energy level.
Right.
Now, whether
It probably would take a lot of energy to manifest a full apparition, which is the
Correct.
most rare
Yeah.
type of phenomenon.
Right. Well, and I honestly believe that's why sometimes when people see ghosts or apparitions, whatever you want to call them, maybe they only see them from waist up, or maybe they just see the legs, or maybe they just see the head. I mean, it takes a lot of energy,
right,
for a spirit to manifest.
They show what they have the capability,
correct,
to reveal to you, to pass a message on, whether it's fear and intimidation or, hey, I'm here.
Right, exactly. So, but this shadow figure with glowing eyes, normally they're seen with having either yellow, orange, or reddish type eyes. Different people have seen the different types of eyes. A round head. Now, when I saw this one beside my bed, I could see it from like the torso up. Like it had human shape, but yet it wasn't solid. So the fact that I could see its shoulders and it was pretty wide, but it's almost like it was out of proportion in a way. And I'll never forget those eyes. Never. It scared the crap out of me. And being raised religious, I automatically assumed it was a demon.
Yeah.
I kept a Bible by my nightstand, and I grabbed it and I ducked up underneath the covers and I was praying.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm a teenager, I'm
That's enough to make
13 or
somebody
14.
not religious pull out the Bible and start praying.
Exactly. Like
Yeah.
I couldn't
Or whatever
even,
book that they prefer.
I couldn't even look out from underneath the covers until it was daylight. That's how
Wow.
scared
Yeah.
I was. But this one, he's also known, or it is also known to be a faceless black shadow. Also, the more fear that a person produces with this type of shadow, the more that it causes this shadow figure to grow.
Now, grow in size or in strength or
Maybe both.
lasting longer.
Could have.
So the energy of fear feeds into these type of entities.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. So you don't want to be fearful around them. So honestly, if I would have looked
That's like saying don't look down.
Right? If I would have looked out from underneath my covers, who knows? Maybe this thing would have been, as tall as the ceiling. I don't know, because I was scared crapless.
Well, and of course, you're in your safe environment. You're in your home or your bedroom. And so this is why we have clients call us. This is supposed to be a place where you're comfortable. You're not expecting strangers, especially weird shadows just showing up out of nowhere.
Right. Right. And until you have one of these experiences,
it's going to create some fear, of course.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And until you have one of these experiences, it's really, I can see people being skeptical, but honestly, if you have the experience, it'll change you.
Yeah.
So, but the next one that we have is a hooded shadow figure. Now,
Okay, I don't know that I've heard of that one. Hooded? Oh, meaning...
hooded, like a hoodie.
Like it has a hood over its head.
Yeah, all the kids nowadays, they got to have that hoodie. And it's like it's 100 degrees outside here in Oklahoma, and they're wearing a hoodie. And I'm like, aren't you hot? And they're like, no. Wow, really? I know you're lying, because I'm burning up and I'm in shorts. So, but yeah,
Right, so hooded. Okay.
Yeah, hooded. So these are normally known not to be aggressive, but it does stand in doorways and besides beds, people's beds, and they watch an individual. So it's known to be more curious, though, than malicious.
That's interesting, because why it's beside a bed. So they wake up and it's kind of off to your side, kind of in your peripheral, right?
Well, depending, I guess.
Right.
No, I think you could see
Now, it's
them.
interesting if then you turn to look at it and you still see it. That's a totally different story.
Yeah.
Right.
Because a lot of these will disappear once they've been seen. But I think some of these, now, that we've had experiences with shadows in doorways, and then you go to look and it's gone.
Right.
Okay. But this one here can be seen beside somebody's bed. You can see it, right? So then you have the misty black smoky shadow figure. So this one doesn't really have a human shape at all, like the others.
So this could be like the low energy type that's trying to form a shape, but not quite getting there.
Yeah, for sure. Now, I'm going to tell you something. I firmly, firmly believe that I saw this, this type of shadow figure in one of the investigations that we did. So, warning, I'm fixing to say a word, okay? But it's in our case, under the case files for Cemetery of the...
Okay.
And we called it that just because of what happened there. But I swear to you, I saw these dark, shadowy, like smoky type figures jumping from the treetops, going from one tree to the other. And I know that you've seen those pictures from that investigation and you're like, oh no, I can explain that. That's a hair. That's this. I don't know. Maybe you can, maybe you can't. But I can tell you.
I think I know which pictures you're talking about. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Because you can recreate that with a camera strap.
Well, of course.
Yeah.
But we had no camera straps at that time.
Right.
And this is during the time that I was seeing those shadow figures jump from tree to tree. And that's why the investigator took the pictures.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but anyway, these are also known to be an intelligent entity. And it can be attached to people or places that give off negative emotions or energy. So that tells us there that it feeds off
of negativity.
Yes.
So again, on that theme with things that are dark and black and from the misty kind of point of view or just shadowy. So I think that's what scares us, is the night scares us because you don't really see very well at night. So that darkness is equated with negativity because things that harm you seem to come out of the dark.
Like zombies.
Right. So I mean that comes from pop culture too. So
that's true.
But it's
Michael
I do see the
Jackson's
trend
Thriller.
here, except the hooded figure didn't seem to be malicious, but because of the stories that they just kind of stay there and don't really do anything. So people tend to see the pattern in that type of experience over and over again, that it really doesn't interact.
Yeah, and not all of these are malicious. That's the thing.
Right.
You know, when I was doing the research on them and then just from my experience. But I will tell you, you know, you feel the fear, and that fear, I don't know, the way that I was brought up is fear is more of the bad or of the devil. You know, if you look at it from a Christian point of view.
So you have to repress that?
Devil. Yeah.
Okay.
And fear is not of God. So if that's the case, if you're feeling fear, then it's evil.
Oh, see? That's not. And I was raised religiously, and it's exact. You know, you're from certain religions, you're taught to fear God in a sense. Certain religions, and fear is a normal human emotion. It actually is protective of us.
Right, but when they tell you to fear God, it's like to have a
I'm just saying there's different ways the religions kind of twist this. And
for sure, sure.
Yeah.
But anyway, so then there you have what's known as peeking shadow people.
Like they peek in and out. Where did you find?
Kind of reminds me of a peeping Tom.
Where did you find this source?
Hey,
peeking shadows, right? But some people call certain shadows peeking.
Peeking.
We're not talking to the city in China, right?
Peekaboo. No, we're not
Peking.
That's Peking, I think.
I don't know. We're trying Peking. I don't know.
Peking.
But this is peeking. So in and out around corners and doorways?
Yes. So they like to peek around corners and doorways. They do try to blend in with normal shadows. Now, if they're noticed, they'll disappear very, very quickly, like immediately. Sometimes they will. So
this is the stuff that's out of the periphery, right? And you look, and it's gone.
And not always.
Okay.
Not always out of peripheral on this one. Like you can see them straight on. Sometimes they will cause a person to be fearful. And sometimes people believe, like there's been some thoughts on them, that they're just playful and curious. But other people believe that they serve as scouts for other malicious type of entities.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That changed our
Where did they get
peeking,
that from, you know? I don't know.
I don't know.
Skepticism in me.
Maybe they've sat them down and interviewed them.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Podcast style.
Oh, Lord. Okay. Watch your shadow, people. Now, I have encountered these. They are real. I don't care what anybody tells me. I have encountered them. Yes. I will just tell you from my experience, they are ancient. Like they have been around for a long, long, long time. So they're described as dark, shadowy, humanoid-shaped people.
So similar to the peeking one, but they stick around longer?
But they don't peek.
They stay around longer? They just watch and hover?
Yes. But these are the ones now that are seen out of the peripheral vision. They are linked to feelings of fear and paranoia. They move quickly and they disappear when they are noticed directly. They have been known to watch at a distance. Some have said that they like to stalk individuals. Now, to me, these would be the kinds that were the scouts for the malicious entities instead of, When I did some more research into these, they are considered ancient. They've been around for a very, very, very long time. Look, I can see your face. I know you're about to bust. Like, all right,
Okay,
Christy, here's all your theories,
carry on.
my time's coming, and I'm fixing to unleash that skeptic. I can see it all over your face. I've known you for
You're
years
also
and years.
psychic too, so you know what I'm thinking.
Exactly. Okay, the
You
next
just know
one,
me really well.
I do, but okay, you got to admit. Was I correct?
Yes.
Of course I was. Okay, tall, slender shadow people, described as usually humanoid in shape, and of course very tall, very thin. Their height can be anywhere from 6 to 15 feet. So they're taller than a Bigfoot.
Wow.
These shadow people lack any sort of clear facial features or details, kind of like with the nylon over your face, you know?
Right, yeah.
They're reported to be often seen in one's peripheral vision. Mm-hmm. They often move quickly or disappear suddenly. They are known to be associated with feelings of dread or fear. They are often associated with folklore, like the Slender Man.
Okay.
Do you know about the Slender Man folklore?
Uh-huh. Yep.
Yeah. So this type of shadow is often thought, to be connected with Slender Man, or maybe even Slender Man. So
Sure.
Then you have one that's called the harasser shadow people. I'm sorry. Some of these names are hilarious. Okay. I promise, though, I researched these.
Yes.
They're dark, shadowy, human-like shaped people. They're described as blacker than black or totally devoid of light. I found that interesting because
it's just more solid than the transparent or translucent type, I guess.
Right. But
like your mists or smoke.
So if you think nighttime and it's dark.
Yeah.
But then you've got this shadow that's blacker than the dark.
Well, I mean, there is some light for what's around this shadow.
So there has to be some sort of light around to be able to produce the shadow.
There's some kind of light completely blocked out to have solid black in a shadow.
And I guess that would make sense too. Remember I told in the beginning trailer, I also said my dad's that antique classic car collector when he was alive, and R.I.P. Daddy. Anyway, I saw those shadow figures, and they were human-like. Like I saw the humanoid shape, the figure like a human.
Oh, right, yeah.
Going from one car to the other, and then sitting in there. Yeah.
Peeking around.
No, I don't think those would have been.
Was he harassing you?
Well, maybe he was just tall, slender shadows, or maybe they were the watchers. They were watching us from the cars. We're not ever going to let that peeking thing go, right?
No.
Okay,
a peeking duck shadow? Was it in the shape of a duck?
Look, folks, I promise we have not been drinking anything.
No.
This is just blowing off some steam. This is what we do, right?
This is us like normally in an investigation if we're like taking a break and chit-chatting.
Yeah, just having some fun. So, okay, harasser shadow people. Although they have a humanoid shape, they typically lack any sort of detailed facial features. Again,
right? Yeah, too dark to see anything.
And you can't see any discernible clothing. You can't see any clear like facial expressions. Just like the 7-foot the Hat Man that I told you coming down. I could see the indentions of the eyes and the nose and the mouth. You can't even see that on these.
Yeah, he was not like so he had some light coming through.
Yeah, and he wasn't solid. Like I could see through him. It was thicker than just see-through, but still enough where you could peer through. Yeah. So they can appear solid like a person, and they can disappear quickly. They can also appear like a very black smoky figure or a very black mist. They are associated with dread, paranoia, fear, and negativity.
There's that trend again.
I know, right? They've been known to stalk individuals. They peek around corners and they watch. So they've been known to stalk individuals and watch them from corners of a room. They're often seen out of one's peripheral vision and will disappear quickly when noticed. They have been known to attack people physically by scratching, bruising, and choking individuals while giving them a sense of paralysis. So these are the bad boys.
That combines with another type of phenomenon, which we can talk about later, when I jump in, but
When you jump
Carry on.
in, boy, she's ready. She can't wait. She's fixing to bounce on us.
nah, I'm okay.
Okay, so anyway, so that's the eight major
different types.
Yeah. And, as paranormal investigators, there's been a theory out there on the shadow people.
Where do they come from? All those kind of things, yeah. Well, theories develop based off experiences and stories and claims and
I'm sure folklore
looking
has got a lot
at
to do with it.
trending, right? And that so our job as investigators is to look at the logical explanation and what we don't understand or the trending that we've seen and what you pick up spiritually and try to combine all three to what's legitimate, what could potentially be something paranormal.
Right.
And then that's what we're left with our team and how we work.
Well, automatically, like we've mentioned already, some people seem to think that shadows are automatically demons, but that's not the case. There's different theories out there.
Again, I'm very heavily on the skeptic when it comes to these visual type things that we see, but I'm not necessarily going to tell a client that what they saw wasn't paranormal.
Well, what would you tell me?
I didn't.
I've seen them.
Right, exactly, and I wasn't there to see it too. So,
Do you want me to sick one on you? Send one your way.
Right, I'm just saying.
I'll pull it up from the other side.
Bring it. No, I'm just kidding. Don't do that. We're not manifesting anything.
I'll
here.
bring the peeking one around.
We're not about that. We do not provoke, Christy.
No, we don't. I'm just messing. You know
So
me.
am I. Yeah. But no, what I mean is, clients come to us and they're genuinely scared, and a lot of them jump right to that demonic.
Sure.
So, even though I can explain away a lot of the things from a scientific point of view, I guess you could say, what they might have experienced could truly be paranormal, but we don't always jump to demonic because of how extremely rare that type of phenomenon would be.
Yeah.
And just because it's dark, it produces fear, but doesn't mean it's negative. And so it's like, let's look at the trending, let's look at what's happened, let's potentially connect with who might be here and what their purpose is. Because of how visual light works with our eyes, shadows might be easier for a spirit to kind of manifest, to show itself, so to speak.
Well, you're absolutely correct, and I do agree with you there. I know that throughout the years, I've heard different paranormal investigators, say that they just feel like shadow people are like dead humans, right? Or some people believe that it's, we've talked about the different realms that's out there. So like a time-space glitch, even...
Or like they're in a different kind of plane, and that's why they're dark?
I think so, yeah. Almost like a interdimensional type entity.
Ooh, that's getting way too out there for me.
Well, I know, but I'm just saying that these are the theories out there associated.
I've heard of a theory when we're talking about dark versus light that some do believe that the darker it's more negative and the lighter energies are more positive energy.
Of course.
And there's no way to prove any of that, but those are the theories that are out there.
Yep.
So,
sure.
And I think that's just based on of the feeling that it gives you.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
Because you would think, the way that we're raised, growing up, if religious or not, angels are bright and light, and heaven is light, and dark
and hell is dark and creepy and gloomy-doomy.
So people equate that with that, and so it elicits those type of feelings.
Yeah.
There's another theory I would add, too, on that.
Which is?
In what we already know as paranormal investigators or assume is that spirit energy draws from the energy in the environment.
Yes.
So if light is energy and you need that energy, could we leave the shadow behind like a footprint?
So do you mean like the shadow figure would absorb the light?
No, the spirit absorbs the light and leaves the shadow like a footprint because that energy has been used.
Oh, I see what you mean. Okay. Oh, wow. That's an interesting perspective. I never thought about that before.
I should publish.
Just kidding. Oh, my gosh.
I'm teasing. I don't know if that's my own theory, but that's certainly
that's
something I've thought about with other theories when we talk about thermal energy and hot and cold spots. I have a very similar theory when it comes to the cold spots, where you watch all the paranormal shows and they're going around with a temp gun and they're like, oh, it's a cold spot, the ghost is right here. And I'm like, well, if they're using energy and heat is energy, wouldn't that be what's left over after?
Right. It's
they've
the
been
absence
there?
of.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like the footprint they left. They were here. Now it's a cold spot.
Yep. Huh. That's very interesting.
That's what my brain does.
Hey, I like it. Do you know shadows, though, has also been associated with sleep paralysis,
Right,
also
yes.
known as, the old hag syndrome, but
Right.
it's because they
We could
think
have a whole episode on sleep paralysis.
We could.
But this definitely is a phenomenon people experience when they're experiencing.
Right. And they say that you can hallucinate during that.
Well, you're kind of in a half awake state. So it's sort of like your dreams and reality overlap.
Right.
But
right.
then we're involving peripheral hooded figures at the side of your bed, too.
Well, I know mine wasn't like that.
Well, that was different, though.
Ya.
You turned and looked at it, and it was still there. So I'm talking about the stuff in your periphery.
Yes, I know. Well, and I have seen some in my peripheral vision, and we'll talk about that when we start talking about some experiences. And even you, Mrs. Skeptic, you've had those as well. So
Sure, but I've also explained it away.
So you
With
thought.
what I know.
So
Yeah.
you thought.
Yeah.
Okay. One of the other theories they believe is it's a shape-shifting jinn. So,
Never heard of that.
Right, which is, I'm going to explain what that is. So it actually comes from the Islamic and Arabic folklore. It's believed that it's a shape-shifting and supernatural type being, and it's created from like a smokeless fire. Now, it can take on various forms. So that's why it's considered shape-shifting.
Okay.
Almost like the skinwalker here that we have in Native American culture.
But this is just a different type of shadow figure. So,
Correct.
But their theory behind this, like of what it is, comes from this shape-shifting?
Well, I don't know if I understood you correctly, but they believe in this theory, the shadow person, they believe that it could be this shape-shifting jinn.
Oh, okay.
Okay. And this...
Oh, so they're lumping it all into one type of phenomenon.
Yes.
That's their theory. Gotcha.
As the shape-shifting jinn. So, like, when it goes to,
And jinn is spelled Jinn for our
Correct.
listeners.
Correct. So it can do human and animal shapes as well as just appearing like a smoky mist.
Hence the shape-shifting, right?
Right? Mm-hmm. It's believed to possess free will, and it can choose whether it wants to be good or whether it wants to be evil. It possesses supernatural abilities. So, and here's a fun fact. A lot of times when kids watch cartoons, we as adults know that there can be some underlining little cues in there that children don't always catch.
Right.
You know what
Subliminal
I mean?
messages.
Exactly. Well, the jinn has been incorporated into various type culture narratives. An example, the story of Aladdin. That's Disney's story, remember?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So the genie is actually
A jinn?
a shape-shifting jinn. Yeah, it's a jinn.
Okay.
So interesting.
That comes and
perspective.
grants your wishes.
Right.
So he chose good.
Right?
Maybe.
So lucky. He was mischievous a little bit.
So that's
but-
just an example of
Yeah,
one.
that's an example, but that's how it's been brought into culture and folklore.
Well, this overlaps with like what we've seen in how even an apparition presents itself.
Mm-hmm.
It has like will in showing itself to you in a way that communicates to you somehow.
Right.
So even whatever shape it wants to choose is based upon what the message it's trying to give.
Correct.
Perhaps.
Correct. Yeah.
Or how it wants to present itself, whether it wants to be in a fedora and look cool, or
don't forget the duster with it. It's in style these days. Yeah. But so anyway, that's kind of the theories out there on there. Now, I've kind of mentioned some of my own personal experiences with shadow people, right? Mm-hmm. That shadow by my bed with the orangish red eyes.
Yeah, you've seen
it
a
from
whole
torso
bunch.
up.
Do most of these experiences that you've had, do you think they were seen psychically or with your own eyes?
I would say with my own eyes then at the point. And
Initially,
and
like when you were a kid?
Yeah.
Yeah, because your sister saw it too, right?
The Hat Man, yes, she did.
Okay.
But like the one beside my bed, I was the only one in there.
Yeah, so you don't know.
Right.
It's that clear to you that it's hard to tell when you're early in your gifts, perhaps.
Oh, yeah, because I'm what, 14?
You were still trying to understand.
Yeah, I was maybe 14, 15. I was real young. And again, you got to remember my background. I was told that all this is taboo.
And you're trying to push it away.
I'm going to die and go to fiery hell if I even think about ghosts, right? I was scared crapless. So, but yeah, I had that one. And then I talked about the shadow figures in between my dad's car. And then one night I remember I was on the opposite side. I wasn't in my bedroom. I was in my baby sister's room. And my mom and dad would make me kind of sleep with my baby sister because she was always so scared.
Right.
So either she was coming to my room and, sleeping with me in there in my bed, or I'd go to hers. Well, this particular night I was actually in her room and was laying there. And we had, again, no offense to anybody who is of any religion. I reference sometimes to the Christian faith just because that's how I was raised. So we had revival going on this whole entire week when I was a kid. And I remember one night coming home, laying down in that bed, and all of a sudden I just felt this intense fear, like just
Out of nowhere.
Almost like I was just going to have a panic attack. I happened to look in the doorway, and there was this dark shadow figure, human form. I didn't see any glowing eyes. I didn't see a hat on it. Like, if I had to describe it, maybe harasser or a watcher. I don't know. Maybe it was peeking.
We can't say that one without laughing.
I know.
I don't know what's gotten into us.
I don't know either. Maybe my Diet Coke.
Definitely not some gin, that's for sure.
Oh, that's a good one. I like it. You worked that in smoothly.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, so I just knew that it was there, and it had its arms both outstretched like it was blocking
So is
the
this
doorway.
in the same house that you experienced the other ones with the eyes? Okay.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah, this was...
You're going to have to give me the address on that one. I'll have to look it up for you.
I sure will. It's actually been sold. After my dad passed, it got sold. And
Oh, it was your dad's house from when I knew your dad?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, it was our family home.
Yes. Well, he still
But
lived there
then,
at the time.
Yeah, after him and my mom divorced, and it was just him there.
Huh.
So, but at the time, we were all living there. My
Sure,
mom and my
yeah.
2 sisters and my dad.
Side note, though, did he ever express to you any experiences that he had, especially living there on his own?
He did not, but my dad was, I would say he was very cautious when it came to things.
Maybe not open to that and probably would not have admitted
Well,
to
he
it.
believed in it.
Yeah.
He did believe in it. And like we've talked before, and my dad told me, he's like, yeah, the ladies, the women on my side of the family seem to have certain abilities or
Right,
gifts.
and he shared that with you.
He shared that with me, yes. And so it's almost like he said that my great grandmother used to read tea leaves, and that
Right, yeah, I
his
remember you telling me
mom
that.
knew things. So, and then I've talked to some of my aunts, and my cousins. They all have seen things and experienced some things. Now they never worked it like a muscle to where I'm at, right? To
Right.
develop anything, but it's definitely a gift on my dad's side.
Sure, yeah.
So, but this particular night, going back to that
Yeah.
experience, this shadow was standing there blocking the doorway because I wanted to get up and run.
So it's like
shoot
it
out
knew
the
what you
door.
were thinking.
Yes.
Ooh.
And sorry, but I was going to leave my sister in the bed. I'm like, I'm out. So
Poor Shelley.
I know, right? But it's, I don't know, 5 or 10 minutes. Maybe it was in the doorway. Just
Does she remember this?
she was out cold.
Oh, she was sleeping.
Yeah. Well, you got to
she
think
didn't
I'm
see it.
14 years older than my
Yeah.
baby sister. So
Yeah.
if I'm 15
She was
at
little.
the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. She's maybe 1.
Oh my
or-
gosh. Yeah.
Yeah.
What she doesn't know.
Right. She's snoozing, man. And so finally, after about 5 or 10 minutes, I looked up and the shadow was gone. And so I was like, oh, this is my chance. And
I'm out.
out I went. Yes.
Peace
and
out.
I ran.
You're on your own, kid.
Did you say peek?
Peace out. No.
I swear I'm hearing that word now.
Peace out, kid.
Wow. Yeah. Peace out.
Peace out. You're on your own, kid.
Pretty much. But I ran into my mom's room and my mom and dad's room, and I woke my mom up. And this is what is so weird. So, like, in the Pentecostal holiness faith, they believe in speaking in tongues. It's like a gift of the Holy Spirit. And honestly, I am not kidding you. As soon as I walked up to my mom's and I shook her and I said, Mom, she immediately started speaking in tongues, like praying.
She was still sleeping?
No, I mean, I woke her up.
Oh, she just started.
And I was like, Mom, and she knew I was scared. And then before she even said anything,
Her instinct was just go right into it.
Yeah.
Did she ever do that before?
no, not when I ever woke her up.
Did she ever speak in tongues?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
That was our belief that when
back then.
you got saved and the Lord would fill you with His Holy Spirit. So, but what was so odd is I didn't even tell her anything. Like, I'm seeing this dark shadow, and she's just praying in tongues over me, and so that freaked me out.
Yeah.
And I would not go back in there and sleep.
Yeah.
Like, and I'll never forget that experience either. So I've had a lot of shadow people experience
I guess
in this
so,
house. But moving forward, all right.
Other homes? Did you have any?
Yes. So I lived in Mustang, Oklahoma for a while. I purchased a home there and lived. And I had my daughter. My daughter was probably, I don't know, about 17, 18 at the time. And my son, he was real young, maybe 4, something like that. So one particular night in my son's room, my son wakes up and I hear him saying, "Stop it, stop it." And I went in there to see what was up, and I heard like the slamming of like a drawer, you know?
Oh, yeah. I remember this story you told me.
Yeah. And so I said, "Grayson, what's going on?" And he said, "Mom," he said, "there was a man that was there, and he had on this hat, and he had a dog on a leash, and he kept going through my drawers. And I don't know why he's going through my drawers, but I told him to stop it." And I was like, "Oh, okay, now that's pretty freaky, right?"
So a shadow man with a hat and a dog on a leash.
Yeah. He was holding
It's like a police dog and the state trooper
looking around the corner, looking
contraband
for
in his
drawers. I don't know.
Sorry.
No,
I'm a little punchy today.
But yeah. And so I was like, okay, that's kind of freaky. Well, what was even freakier is a couple of nights later. So my daughter was working. She worked nights, and she worked at this place. They closed very late, and she got home around 2 a.m. So her room was right next to my son's room. So my son's asleep, and my daughter just got out of the shower, and the bathroom is like right there by their rooms because this house wasn't very big.
Right.
And my daughter heard the slamming of like dresser drawers.
This is the second night, right? The next night.
This is 2 nights later.
2 nights later.
2 nights later, yes.
Okay.
And so she thought her brother was up. And so she was like, "Grayson." And so she goes around the corner and she sees the same man, right? But she didn't see him with the dog and the dog leash. But she saw him with the hat, and he's going through the dresser drawers. And it freaked her out so bad, she ran into her room and slammed the door. She didn't even try to go save her brother. She's like, "Peace out," just like what I did to my sister.
She's like mother, like daughter.
Right, exactly.
Wow. So did she know the story from 2 nights prior?
Oh, no. That's important to mention. So I never mentioned anything to her.
There wasn't really a need to, right?
Right. And Grayson never
She
told
wasn't
her
even
anything.
home when it happened, perhaps.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep. So I thought that was pretty freaky. 2 nights apart from each other.
Corroborating stories.
Yes. Same circumstances, same dude.
But Grayson didn't wake up that second night.
No.
Or that second time.
No. He was sleeping right through it. But the slamming of the drawers is what, got my daughter's attention. So I've had a couple of experiences with shadow people outside of homes. So do you remember back in, I can't remember the date. I'd have to look it up. But the Weber's Fall accident, where the tugboat or hit the barge and hit the bridge and collapsed the bridge.
That,
and so cars were going off.
Yes,
into the
the
water.
I-40 bridge collapsed. A friend of mine's in-laws were on that bridge.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Did they pass?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Yeah. No, I didn't know them, but
wow.
There's a connection there. Yeah. So it's a pretty horrible story that happened in Oklahoma. Gosh, when was that? That was over 10 years ago.
Yeah, let me look it up real quick. There's nothing that says we can't do research while we're recording, right? So it was Weber's Falls. Bridge collapse. There we go.
Yeah. I know it as the I-40 bridge collapse.
Yeah. How many people died? 14 people. Wow.
Yeah, and there was the year right there. 2002.
7:45 a.m. on May 26, 2002. Freight barges being transported on the Arkansas River collided with a pier supporting the Interstate 40 road bridge crossing the river.
This resulted in a lot of our disaster preparedness and response efforts.
Oh, yeah.
And we learned a lot from this incident. Yeah.
Well, Oklahoma's always been about 20 years behind.
We are up there in the number of disasters too. We're the leading state in per capita on those who would experience a disaster at some point in their life. So, yeah, another one of those number ones for our state.
Hey, at least we're moving on up.
Well, not for the things we want to, but...
No, but some things.
Yeah.
I think we're, 49th in education?
There's a shadow that...
Oh, yeah.
Well,
Well, it killed 14 people and it injured 11 people. And it was because the captain of the barge, he lost consciousness, and that's why it hit the bridge. Yeah. So anyway, I'm driving out east, and I am near this place. I haven't arrived up to it yet. And for those of you that are interested, you could look up, Weber's Falls, the I-40 bridge collapse, and see pictures of it. But so right before I get to this exit, right there by not too far from the bridge, I actually see this shadow man. It looked like a man, and this is a 2-lane highway on each side, so 4 lanes total. There's a grassy median in the middle. You know how Oklahoma is.
Well, isn't the bridge in Arkansas or just over the state line or something like that?
No, I think it's in Oklahoma side, if I remember.
Okay.
I wasn't quite to the bridge yet, but I was driving up that way, so I was in the area.
Oh, I didn't know you were... Maybe, this sounds familiar, but I guess I've heard stories like this, but you might have told me.
Could have been. It's an old story, but I'll never forget it.
Right.
Well, this black shadow man walks out from the center median and into the first lane there on would be the left lane of traffic.
Right. While you're so you're sitting in standstill traffic at that point, or
no,
you're
driving.
You're still driving?
I'm driving, and guess what? I had about 3 or 4 people with me in the car.
Right.
And they saw it too.
Oh.
So this was not with my psychic eyes.
Right.
So he walks out from the median, and he walks to that first lane, and then before he crosses to go to the second lane, he disappears. And I was like, oh my gosh, did anybody see what I just saw? And they're like, yeah.
Yes. Huh.
So there was, I think out of 5 of us that was in the car, 3 of us saw it or 4 of us saw it. So yeah, I'll never forget that. And then...
Wait, so what happened then? Did you eventually run into traffic? Because the bridge had already collapsed, right? And you had driven up towards
let me clarify. This was years after the bridge collapsed. Okay, sorry.
Gotcha.
I confused you a little bit. I was just taking the highway to drive.
So this is years later,
area.
they repaired it, and you happened to be in the area and you see this shadow.
Yes,
Ooh.
sorry.
Well, I wonder if anybody else has reported any kind of sightings like that.
I don't know. That would be really interesting to know.
Yeah.
But you got to think, if 11 people died there, think
14,
about the...
14.
Oh, 14.
11 were injured, yeah.
Okay. That's sad. 14 people that died.
Yeah.
So, yeah, this is years afterwards when that happened. Right. And we all were just kind of like stunned, all of us in the car.
Did you all seem to make that connection that perhaps it had something to do?
We thought maybe,
with
yes.
spirits still lingering, perhaps?
Yeah, we talked about it. We didn't really know, but since we were so close to Weber's Falls.
That's the first thing you thought of, right?
Yeah. It was.
Wow.
We're wondering if it was one of the spirits, that was kind of trapped in the area from the accident.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. So then one other experience that I had, and I'll shut up. People are probably thinking, girl, you've had way too many experiences. And no, but I swear to you, they're all true. So this was not very long ago. Actually, I would say probably the last couple of weeks. So I'm on I-240. I'm driving east to go to work. It's about 4:30 in the morning. And I would say it's kind of in a stretch of the highway where you have light, but yet it's kind of dark. And I remember this time, instead of going from the left to the right, I saw a shadow of a person. I couldn't tell whether it was male or female, but right in front of my headlights, not too far, I saw them walk all the way across the highway on my side, both lanes, and then into the median and disappeared. And I have no earthly idea.
Wow.
I was like, wow.
And so you had enough light to see that it wasn't just a shadow. Or was it an actual person?
No, because I looked as I passed by. There was nobody.
Ooh.
And I could see through it. That was another thing.
Was it close enough you had to slam on your brakes or anything?
No.
Was it far enough in the distance?
It was far enough in the distance, but if I was too much closer, I probably would have slammed on my brakes.
Yeah. Ooh, so close enough to see some detail, but not close enough to react.
Yeah, and if you think about it on the highway, if you've got traffic coming from the other side, so you've got their lights shining towards you, then I've got my headlights that
Shining
are
the other side.
So it's like you've got light on both sides.
Right.
You know, enough
So
to
was
see.
there traffic on the other side of the highway?
Yes. Yeah. I mean, not a whole lot, but at the time when the shadow was crossing, you know, there was a couple of cars that were
And it was
going
crossing like legs walking and
by.
things.
Yes, the full figure.
When was this?
A couple weeks ago, actually.
Yeah, because this is your new job, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what time of day was it? Or was the sun
4:30.
starting to come up?
Oh,
or
no.
It's still dark.
Yeah, it was still dark. About
So you had
4:30 in the
street
morning.
lights that kind of illuminated things.
I would say, yeah. I mean, there's not that part. There's not a whole lot there.
We have a
but
whole lot of
some.
street lights that are out in our city.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, no, just because they're doing construction and all that in the
Right,
area.
yeah.
So, but I'll never forget that one either.
Yeah.
Just plain as day.
You were saving that one to tell me today, huh?
I was. Cause
That's
I've
why
never
you
told
wanted to do
that
this
one.
episode. You're like, we need to do shadow people.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, based off that experience. And then
Yeah.
that made me think about Weber's Falls again.
Yeah, all the shadows you've seen.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm like, there's got to be something to this. This is crazy. You know? And I
Right.
mean, I see it from, you know,
You're
my
alert to it
perspective.
too, and you have a certain gift, and you tend to attract spirits. So, I mean, it increases your chances just based on that alone. Right?
But you wouldn't think about when you're driving something like that happening.
No.
You know, that's crazy.
Yeah, I would
So-
think, oh my gosh, I almost hit somebody.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Well, and I mean, when I seen it, honestly, my reaction was, "Oh crap, someone's in the road," you know.
Right.
But then when you see through it, and then you see it like disappear, and I swear when I drove by, I was looking for it.
Right.
Like I looked in the median, I looked off to the other side to see if I could see anything, and I saw nothing. I know that was a shadow. That was not a real person.
Yeah. No, and that definitely says something if you're looking directly at it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right in front of me. What about you? Have you had any experiences at all?
Well, you know,
besides-
only during investigations, you know, we it's already dark, so I'm very aware of the way that your eyes play tricks on your brain in trying to adjust to low light settings.
Right.
So sometimes there might be things in your periphery, and our vision and the way our eyes work can definitely explain that sort of thing.
Yeah, and your senses are
I'm
heightened.
and usually I'm ready understanding that about peripheral vision, and I can get into that in a little bit here. But you know, there's some shadows we've seen straight on in certain locations, but they were so faint and maybe just that general mist that you almost can kind of chalk that up to your eyes trying to adjust to the dark. And that's honestly what I think it is. But yeah, I've seen some shadows. We had a time we were at the Pumpkin Theater recently. I don't remember if this is the first time we investigated there or not. We had a shadow on camera that I think I was able to explain through IR reflection. But then we were back, and you and I were sitting we have a laser grid that helps us to visualize shadows better.
Because it can
kind
kind the grid light.
Yes, because if there's something solid moving across, it should cut out that laser or distort it a little bit, depending, because the laser will now shift around that object. All right, so that'll catch your eye, and you can kind of turn your attention to whatever that movement was.
And we were having breaks in the grid.
Yes, and so some of that could have been as the grid was losing power, because the batteries tend to die. I'm just saying.
This was before the batteries died.
Right.
Listen to her trying to justify this.
We saw more of that towards the end of the evening, and when the battery died on that, we did see a little bit more shadow figure. But you're right, early on it was brand new battery, and we're seeing it cut off on that left side of the stage where we usually have other things happening.
I saw one while we were there at the Pumpkin Theater, probably from shoulders up. So like I saw the round head, and I saw the shoulders.
That was, you saw psychically though, right?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah.
Because remember, I thought there was a window, and I was asking, was that a window?
Yeah, there's no window back. Yeah,
yeah, and it was just the door, and I remember that.
There's a hallway, like an emergency exit back there, and then there might have been a light coming in from there. So that would have given you the light to see a shadow.
That's how I saw it.
Right.
But I remember us swearing we were seeing like the shadows breaking the grid and moving from the stage.
Right.
Mainly from left to right, but I think we saw some going from right to left.
Yeah. And again, if you're sitting, staring, expecting things, your eyes are they do tend to adjust to the light, or they fatigue over time because we're trying to focus in on something that's not very clear to begin with. So it is normal and natural if you're looking for shadows to think you're seeing shadows. And you see that a lot with all kinds of paranormal investigations, or we've done lots of public events, and people are just desperate to see a shadow, and so they swear they see one when they're staring really hard. And you really need to use some tools to kind of help. And you don't have to have complete darkness in an investigation. I think it kind of helps to have a little bit of some ambient light to help your eyes process what you're looking at.
Right.
So, but the laser grid tends to help, and we have different colors. We've had a red laser grid, which doesn't work on our cameras because our camera is infrared, so it cancels out. And then there's green laser.
Right.
Which is not natural light. So our eyes are not used to looking at shadows in the green light. So that can be very difficult for our eyes. And that's something that in researching for this podcast, I learned a little bit more about shadows in natural light. And so green can kind of, like the green screen, can kind of cancel out shadows. So would that technically prove a haunting in the sense that you shouldn't have shadows casting on green light?
That's interesting.
When that green light would cancel out a shadow.
But are you saying that the orange and the red is...
Yes, based on like the sunlight and how the sun reflects certain light at certain times of day. So you get more blue light in the morning and you get more red and orange in the evening, just as the sun and our atmosphere rotates throughout the day. So what our eyes are used to seeing in natural light... it's to help us to visualize shadows, and our brains have learned through evolution and in protection and knowing shadows and when there's a threat. So our peripheral vision is only intended to see movement. So we're not going to see things clearly in our periphery. So shadows are really important to sense something coming towards us that could potentially be a threat to help protect ourselves from it. Then clear vision is straight on. So we don't have the best vision when you look at the animal world. We're not built right for that. We're just focused on what's straight ahead. Our peripheral vision was meant to just detect objects or movement and light outside of the direct line of sight. The quality of our vision is reserved primarily for direct. And we have the way our eyes are on our head is just to look at things straight ahead, versus like your prey animals who have eyes on the side of their head so that they have a broader field of vision that's sharper than in the periphery.
Well, then why were we even given peripheral vision if it's not really that good of a help to us?
Well, it allows us to focus more on what we need that's right in front of us. So it's really meant for us to look for motion and movement, so we know when something's coming up on us, like a ghost.
Gotcha.
Right? So essentially what you see out of the corner of your eye is what's your peripheral vision.
Right.
So humans have a wide visual field about 170 degrees. So it's split into central, which is what you focus on, so your central vision, and peripheral vision. Our retina, which is what's receiving what we see, that's in the back of our eye, contains these cells called rods and cones. And if anybody's medical, they've heard of that before.
Yeah.
Yes. So the cones are dense in the center of the retina, or in the macula. So macular degeneration is something you probably have heard of as a vision problem as people age.
Yeah.
These handle sharp, detailed vision and color.
Oh,
right?
So that's why the older you get, things start to get blurry.
Right, but rods are what's on the outside. So they're toward the peripheral retina, which are especially sensitive to low light motion and provide less detailed or grayscale images.
Oh, low light grayscale.
So
I wonder
the cones are for the front and the rods are for the periphery.
Okay, but what you just said there about the low light and the grayscale.
More sensitive to it. Right, so when we're in low light, our periphery is going to be more prominent. So as a result, our peripheral vision is more sensitive to movement and changes in lighting, but less able to detect color or detail, hence the dark shadow.
Okay.
So I feel like this is what's happening in these cases where we're thinking we see something and we turn and it's gone. And a lot of our clients think that's a ghost, but we can easily explain that as the normal functioning of our peripheral vision.
But wait a second, they're seeing something because that's what caught their attention to begin with in the peripheral.
But your eyes and your brain can create those images in your periphery. So I'll get to that in just a minute.
I'd like to know
what's
that.
interesting is when you do turn your head and then you see it straight on, because that's your better vision. So you can't really rely on your periphery. If it was you hear somebody with their claims and their paranormal activity, they might say, well, I saw it out of the corner of my eye, but I turned and it was gone.
Right.
It didn't necessarily disappear. Now, you with the shadow in the highway, you watched that go off the side of the road. So you weren't using your peripheral vision to see
that was straight on.
Yes, exactly. So
Both
I'm
times.
not debunking or debating that. I'm talking about those cases where it was in the corner of my eye and I turned and it disappeared. Almost all of those claims or those cases, I would say, in that case, it was their peripheral vision. So all of those different shadow entities we were talking about, like the peeking guy, if that was out of your periphery, then that's probably not paranormal. It's the ones you saw straight on. So,
but still, even the ones that I saw straight on, that's a shadow person. So
sure.
that means they exist.
Yeah. Whatever you experienced, paranormal or not, you definitely saw something when you're looking at it straight on. I'm talking about the time when it was just in the periphery.
Right.
And they turn and it was gone. They turn to look at it, it was gone. Probably not paranormal. So this is a common phenomenon. And the experience obviously varies depending on like silhouettes in low light and sometimes more distinct humanoid type shadows. And that's normal for our brain to try to interpret, just like pareidolia, confusing shapes into something that's more familiar. So if it sort of takes an elongated shape, we might think it's a person. Right? So, but there are some explanations behind this, biological and psychological explanations. So like eye floaters, I know I have those. As we age, we get more of these little floating objects in the front of our vision and even in the periphery, and they look like moving shadows. Most of us know what those are when we see them, but
mine look like floating turds.
Or little like specks of dust. So what that is the inside of your eye is actually made of a gel instead of it's a liquid, but it's a thicker liquid like a gel. And as we age, it gets little cracks in it. Some of the moisture is kind of removed from it and creates these little cracks, like you get a crack in your Jell-O, and that's what you're seeing.
You're seeing the cracks is what you're saying.
Exactly, yes. And then you see them more in highlight situations. So this isn't necessarily what we're seeing on an investigation when it's dark out. So tiny fibers or particles in the eye, sometimes it is like debris in your eye, but usually it's that little crack that cast shadows and sometimes manifests peripherally. They're harmless, but they're noticeable, especially as someone ages. One of the fun things in your 40s.
You're saying that the cracks actually can take on a shadow form?
Well, if they end up being in that periphery, it feels like you're seeing a shadow, and as your eyes adjust, it's gone.
Okay.
Right? Because then you're changing how the light's reflecting off of that. Some other explanations: sleep deprivation and fatigue. Being overly tired can cause the brain to misinterpret vague signals. So it's like that pareidolia. So when the more tired you are, the more the bumps in the night are keeping you up, the more you're likely to experience supposed paranormal activity.
Yeah, no, I agree with that.
So this results in hallucinations, seeing shadow people, often reported during periods of extreme physical or emotional stress. So migraine auras are a thing. Neurological disturbances. Migraines sometimes trigger flashes, shadows, or visual anomalies in your periphery. Mental health conditions like schizophrenia, bipolar disorder can cause visual hallucinations, including perceiving shadowy figures in the peripheral vision.
Right. But, if someone reports seeing a shadow figure and they're not diagnosed with a condition like bipolar or schizophrenia, then...
Well, it could be that, we all experience some kind of sleep deprivation, fatigue, or stress and anxiety. That's something experienced by everybody without a chemical imbalance in their brains. So heightened emotional states can increase perceptual sensitivity, leading to the brain to fill in the gaps, kind of like that pareidolia, try to make sense out of stuff that's confusing. So some other neurologic theories... in neurological, in the sense we're talking about the brain versus your vision, which goes together because your
Yeah,
eyes
hand in hand.
receive the light and send the signal to your brain. But there can be prediction errors by your brain.
What is that? Like, think something's going to happen and it doesn't?
Right. Like when you're tired or anxious or neurologically strained, the brain starts to fill in the missing information. So again, like that pareidolia, right?
Okay.
Projecting vague or ambiguous shapes as shadow figures. So your brain is, yeah. And this is what happens. So it's very, this is something that we tell our clients, you have a lot of stress going on, anxiety, any problems in your personal life without trying to get invading into their privacy. It's just something that we have them think about. Okay. So there's also temporal lobe stimulation. So the temporal lobe is the lobe of your brain on the side, and it controls your sensory input and your memory. So when you're overstimulated or sleep deprived, it can produce the sensation of a presence or cause a visual hallucination.
Huh. Wow. All right.
So sleep paralysis we talked about earlier. This is during transitions between sleep and wakefulness.
Right.
Your body, people tend to see figures, especially in the periphery, which are often interpreted as shadow people. So that's when we were talking about that earlier. I was mentioning how, especially when somebody who's experiencing sleep paralysis and they say that they see that shadow figure on the side of their bed, they're usually not looking directly at it because they're laying in their bed. So it appears to be off of their side. Well, yours was a different thing. That wasn't sleep paralysis, too. So don't change the subject.
No, I'm just saying, I looked to my right, I saw that sucker head on.
But sleep paralysis is a known phenomenon. I mean,
Right.
your brain is designed to paralyze you while you sleep so you don't act out your dreams and get hurt. So when you're sleep deprived, you're having problems. It's considered a sleep disorder, much like sleepwalking is. This is kind of like the opposite of that. Now you're awake, but your body can't move.
Yeah.
Because you've woken up too quickly from that deep sleep that those chemicals haven't
Wore off yet.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you're awake, but you may be in that state between the dream and wakefulness where your dreams are still occurring in your brain and you're acting out what you see. So it's kind of like your dream is overlapping with what's reality. So you see that person you were dreaming about visually in your room.
And you're seeing them peeking around the corners.
Right?
Sorry, I couldn't resist.
Exactly. Or that hooded figure at the side of your bed.
Right? He wasn't
Yes.
hooded, though.
So there's also this neurologic theory called the amygdala hyperactivity.
Oh, in the back of the
The
back lower part of
amygdala,
your
yes,
brain.
is a part of your brain. In moments of fear, the brain may misinterpret shadows or shapes as potential threats, resulting in the appearance of shadowy figures. So this is, again, fear-induced. So we're seeing this vicious cycle happen. So some of our clients may truly experience something paranormal, which creates this cycle of fear, cycle of lack of sleep, sleep deprivation, anxiety, which then perpetuates more paranormal activity. And then they call us desperate for help. And so, yes, maybe they did have a true paranormal experience, but is the whole house completely haunted day in and day out? Maybe not.
Sounds like we need to get a neurologist to come
Exactly.
work with us on the team then.
Right. Or a nurse, maybe. And a skeptic.
Oh, and a psychic. Don't forget that.
Right. So we look at all possibilities of what's going on, but
Yeah.
and that just helps explain some of the personal experiences, like seeing shadows out of the corner of your eye. That's the best explanation for that. I clearly would think that would be neurological and explain with the way our eyes are designed. But there's photos that we have.
Yes, actually. Speaking of which, we'll make sure that we get these posted for you guys. But yeah, so over the years investigating, we've captured some of these photos. So for example, Stage Door Theater. Of course,
Yes, I was there
is
for
in
that one.
Oklahoma. Yes, you were.
This is when we were really good at taking lots and lots of photos. So there's lots of pictures that could have potential.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Usually we still take initial photos, but this was throughout the evening as we were investigating. So if we're thinking we're being watched or something like that, we were taking lots more photos.
Well, my camera broke recently too. I need to get a new one. Darn it. Okay, so this was back. Do you remember the year that was back?
Oh gosh, that had to have been 2011, 2012.
Oh yeah, it was quite a while ago.
It's a small community theater in Yukon, Oklahoma.
Yep, Yukon, Oklahoma.
I'm not sure what they're still doing today.
They're actually closed down, believe it or not. Yeah,
That's a bummer. I love local theater.
Yeah, me too. So what you would see in the picture is we're doing a sit down in the theater.
Right, and we were with another team, like co-investigating.
Yeah, they were the ones. I think they actually invited us to come along.
Right.
And then later I
bigger
scheduled
location.
for just us. Yeah, because it was a bigger location. And the team that invited us was fairly new, and they were trying to get some experience, and they wanted us to help them. So we're doing a sit down here in the main, I guess, theater area. Right. And I'm up on the stage and I'm taking photographs. And in one particular photograph, I see what it seems like two different types of shadows. Now, I already know what Kathy's probably going to say on a couple of these, but I swear to you, it looks like there's a shadow on the left-hand side, almost like the head, almost like it's peeking. It is. But no, it truly does look like it's peeking.
It's kind of like we don't see the whole image. It's part of it's cut off because it's just off the edge of the photo of what you captured.
Right, but you can see the head and the shoulders, and then possibly
to me, anything in a photo on the edge like that
is a thumb.
A finger got in the way of the lens. Yeah,
I don't know about that.
And it's going to look like a dark shadow. Right, and sometimes it looks a little transparent, and you can recreate. I've recreated that before.
You can see the theater seats behind it, and all that.
Because it the way the light is shining, it can still give an appearance like it's transparent when it's that close. So yes, I can show you some of my recreations of that, but I've definitely been able to do that. In the past.
Sherlock Holmes.
But there was another shadow that you
in the back.
saw. Right. So the image, if you're
a woman,
if you're driving, I don't want you to pull out your phone now. But if you're home and you want to pull up our Instagram or our Facebook, we're going to post these pictures for you so you can see for yourself. But in this image, we've cut out image of other investigators just for their privacy, to have them out of the photo, really, and to let you kind of see the area we're talking about. Now, there's an exit door in the back part of the photo, in the back of the seats, and the walls in the theater are painted black. Yeah. And there's one area where the texture of the wall changes depending on how the light or the flash of the camera is reflecting off of it. So it's not a perfectly smooth surface, it appears, at least the way the painting was. Black is tough to paint on a wall and get it perfectly matte and nice and,
right.
But
I don't know, when I look at this, I see a female, and I can see like the hair, the face is lighter, everything else about her is kind of dark, but you can see like the arm. You can see,
and that's a perfect example of pareidolia.
And it looks like here, like the image is changing. So from about the butt down, it looks like the shadow is not as defined or together.
Right. Well, this is one of those. Again, this is photography. I look and compare the other
photography.
I look and compare I love photography, but there's other panels in the back of this theater that I can compare to that have a very similar pattern in the black paint, and the pattern in there is what your brain is going to try to interpret it to something that is familiar, like a human shape.
Okay.
So when the pattern in that panel on the wall fits a shape that's a little confusing for your brain's going to try to interpret it in that way. So I see that arm that's like kind of lighter in the photo.
Yeah, do you see her head and her face?
But there's other parts in the panel right next to it that have a similar shape. So somehow in the way that they painted that, the light reflected differently on that splotch of paint.
So, and that's why I'm so glad we can agree to disagree.
Okay.
Because I actually see
I will die on that hill.
All right. Well, what other photos do we have? Let's see.
We have some other really good photos. Now, don't get me wrong. That one I can debunk. But the Wynnewood Hotel has a really, that's the town.
Hotel.
Yes, the hotel
it's in Wynnewood, Oklahoma.
Right. So that one.
Yeah. So to set this one up, we were doing what we consider sweeps, and we were taking photographs of, the outside of the inside before we technically, get started.
So I wasn't on this investigation.
No,
but this one's interesting to me because it's not an actual photo of the hotel itself. It's the street outside the hotel. So what prompted the person who took this photo to take a picture of the street?
He just said that he just felt like he needed to take a picture that way, and
he had a weird feeling and just yeah.
And then there in the picture on the left-hand side, you can see, a shadow person. And, do you see this? Yeah, I think that might be a reflection.
Yeah, some of that could be the street reflection and shadows cast by the street light next to it. But
you could see through this little shadow.
Right.
And I would say it's, 3 feet, 4 feet?
It's not quite a finger, how a finger would look if
because
it got
look,
in the way.
there's a gap.
Right. And it would be a little too skinny for that if it was an up-close finger on a lens. So I haven't been able to debunk this one yet. But keyword yet. But this one has always been super interesting to me.
Oh, yeah, I agree. And someone thought that she was carrying like a basket.
It looks female because this is one of those hooded shadows that we were talking about.
Yes. This looks like they've got the hood on. But interesting enough. And again, we'll post these for you guys so you can see what we're talking about. So Mrs. Skeptic does not have
I will not say any photo is paranormal. But it is interesting that somebody took this picture because they had an inkling to. But, you're ghost hunting, so your inkling is up all the time.
Right.
But something prompted that person to do that.
Yeah. Well, and here's something else. We got another place where we actually captured more than one shadow.
Right.
This is at the Bluebell Saloon in Guthrie, Oklahoma. So this
is a Wild West town, for those of you who don't know.
Oh, yeah.
If Oklahoma has any. We're not really that west, but we did have a lot of...
we had some of the Wild West history.
That
happened here.
We had some outlaws that would hide out here. And, yes.
They had the saloons.
What is that place, the cemetery with the Boot Hill?
Boot Hill Cemetery.
It's a part of a cemetery where we have some old outlaws buried. It's really cool.
The Dalton gang. Mm-hmm.
Right. Yep.
Yeah.
And others. Yep.
Well,
so there's a few pictures from this location, and this is also one that was before I joined the team.
Yes. And in this one, it's really weird. You see what looks like a boot.
And partial leg, partial calf.
It goes up.
And there's some light in the photo that is behind the shadow.
Right.
So it looks like a doorway. Maybe the light was coming off from the side. But the boot is transparent, it looks like.
Yeah.
It doesn't match the floor. It's not an investigator quickly walking through, right?
It'd be like an old cowboy boot. No,
because those are the questions I would ask. It's like, did somebody walk by? Because you can capture a little bit of that in slow shutter speed.
Right, but no, and we weren't using slow shutter speed either.
Well, you'd have to in low light. There's no way around that.
Well, I know, but I'm saying when the time when this picture was taken, we weren't.
Right, which means that the auto shutter would stay open longer because it senses that low light. So then you could get streaking and movement that would come out like
transparent. Which we've had that before.
Yeah, and shadowy. But
so that's interesting with the boot. And, one of the rumors for this location, we call him the Cussin' Cowboy because he is said to hang around mainly on that first floor. And people have heard his voice, but he cusses. Yeah. So maybe this is his boot.
Maybe.
I don't know. But that's one of the interesting photos from the Bluebell Saloon. Another one was down in the basement. So, long story short, I'll tell you how this one happened. I took this photo. I was taking it of the doorway. So when you're in the basement,
this is the one that has the red OKPRI at the bottom right corner.
Yeah,
just
and there's a shadow
if anybody's
figure
following along.
Yeah, thank you for clarifying. There's a shadow figure in the doorway. You see the light behind the person. Well, one of my investigators, because this was our first time at the Bluebell, so we were like exploring.
Yeah, this is an older photo. Yeah.
And one of my investigators went through the doorway and went to the right to go look what was in the other room. So there was no one standing in this doorway when I took this photo.
And you took this one.
I took this photo.
Right.
Yes. And I snapped the picture and bam, there's a shadow.
Did you have any pictures after this one without the shadow?
Yes.
Yeah, that's interesting.
I probably have them on that hard drive that I could pull up. But yes.
Yeah.
And the other ones don't reveal a shadow in there.
Right.
And what's neat is because you can see like the head, the shoulders, the arms going down.
Right.
You can see the
it's
separation between
shadow,
the legs.
No eyes.
Right? And it looks like boots. Look.
Yeah.
Like boots are on them.
Same
or
guy,
some sort
maybe?
of shoes.
I don't know.
Maybe it was the Cussin' Cowboy. I don't know. But what's interesting about this is underneath the Bluebell Saloon, there's tunnels. So back in the day when the Prohibition was going on, and this was all an alcohol-free area, what they would do is they would run liquor through there because the tunnels ran up
like a
underneath the
speakeasy,
city.
or are they just transported?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this also was a place I made contact with the spirit. There was 2 girls. I'd have to go back and read the report. There was Claudia and then there was somebody else. But there was a brothel
Right.
on the top, the top of the floor. And there was a lot of prominent men who would
Like
come.
political society in the area. Mm-hmm.
Yes, had money. They'd enter through the back. There was like a stairwell that went up at the back of the building that would lead them straight into the brothel, so they didn't have to go in through the saloon. And story says, from what this girl told me, is that she was actually sold by her family because times were hard, and she was sold for money, and then she got put to work as one of the brothel girls. And she got pregnant by one of the high officials in the town. He was married. He wanted to keep it hush-hush. So he killed her, and she's buried in one of the sealed-up tunnels.
And was this story corroborated anywhere? Was it documented? How did you know that happened?
It's what she told me.
Oh, in spirit?
Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. Yes. So, and then at the time, you weren't a researcher.
Yes. So that would be fun to look into, see if we could corroborate it. But that's not something that's going to be published, especially in a newspaper, unless it was a big scandal that got revealed,
Right. We did do an EVP session back there, by the way.
Yeah.
And asked her if she was buried in the tunnels, and she said yes.
You got an EVP on that?
I got one. Yep, I sure do.
Wow.
So, okay. The other one that we got, let's see. Let me look right here. Oh, okay. So that would be the...
Yeah, we're on to the boy photo.
The boy. This was a guest photo, though. So, with the guest photo, what occurred is that they were contacting us because they wanted us to do an investigation for them. And always in our... I guess we tell the guests, look, if you've got any sort of evidence, send it to us.
Right.
So we can look at it.
Yes.
And that's where...
They wanted us to see what we thought about the photo and potentially come in for an investigation.
Right. So, and just so when we go to post this, so everybody knows, we have cut, the majority of the young child's face out of the photograph just for privacy and confidentiality. But what you're looking at is... there is a shadow figure walking behind this boy. And you can see from the top of the shoulders all the way down to the feet and the boots. And there's parts of him that's transparent.
Now, on this photo, there's a little bit streak of some white light in there. Mm-hmm. That looks a lot to me like a light trail. So if there's something in their hand that illuminates...
like about this?
Yes.
Okay.
So I think this was a person walking by, because in low light settings, this is the type of phenomenon you would get. Now the room is not very dark, so yeah, and the boy is pretty focused. But this is the type of phenomenon you can get if you have the low light setting and somebody walks through.
Okay.
So I don't know if any of you have ever taken a picture and you're trying to get it and it's all blurry because there's too much movement in it, but it's at night. Or like people who have problems taking pictures of like your fireworks at night or people at night. You're not going to get...
Didn't she say, though, that nobody walked behind?
She did. So. But again, we weren't there. If maybe she doesn't remember because she was just taking pictures of her son. So it's possible that you didn't think or you weren't focused on it at the time. She's focused on the boy.
It looks like in the person's hand, they're like a small...
Like a cell phone or something
no,
with the lighting?
It looks like a...
Oh, but you're going to see a trail.
Oh, well, I know, but I'm talking about this flesh-colored thing right here.
Yeah.
It looks like a turkey butt, like you would prepare a turkey to me, or like a small chicken that, that's whole that you would prepare.
I don't see that at all.
Well, there's the wing. That's the area where they cut off the head. This is the breast.
I think the client who sent us this thought that was like claws and something, like this was something dark and negative, and she thought it was claws.
And I'm wondering, now that I look at this, do you see the head? There is a head there. I think you could actually see the head maybe turned.
Right.
Almost like
it's definitely a weird photo.
Difference.
And I mean, I wasn't there. I don't really know the circumstances, but, it can be explained. But it's a really difficult one to try to recreate, that's for sure.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. So I think that was the last of the shadow photos that we actually had. So
when you get a chance, if you haven't had a chance to look at it, if you're driving and listening to us, make sure you check when you go home. Don't check your phone when you're driving. But take a look at the photos and
see what you
send us an email. Let us know what you think. Yeah. And if you have any photos you'd like for us to take a look at of any shadow figures or
ghosts
interesting
in general,
right? Send them
or
in
something unexplained.
And maybe if you want us to share, make sure you tell us that you want us to share them, and we can post those as well and talk about them on the podcast.
Yeah, that would be great.
Well, thank you for listening. I hope this was a good one for you. If you have your own parastory, send us to our email at psychicandskeptic, all spelled out, @gmail.com. Check out our Instagram, like we were saying, and our Facebook page, Psychic and Skeptic, for both of those pages. And then if you want to look back at the cases we've talked about, you want to see more pictures, more evidence, more just the narrative and the history behind some of these locations we just talked about, go to our website at www.okpri.com or the OK Paranormal Facebook page. That is for Oklahoma Paranormal Research and Investigations.
Right. And again, we want to give another big shout out to all of our listeners. We sure appreciate you from all over the world.
Tell your friends if you like it, if you think they would like it, let them know. Word of mouth is a great way for more people to experience and listen in and share.
I've been advertising at the spirit fairs that I go to. We got those little cards and I'm like,
so if you're listening,
listen to a podcast.
Let us know how you found out about us too.
Oh, that'd be great. Yeah.
So you can find us wherever you enjoy your podcasts, and thank you for listening.
Because the paranormal is the normal.
Not yet understood.